When the divine masculine approaches and the divine feminine feels fear. This is the topic for today, and most people think that the hardest part on this twin flame journey is when the divine masculine pulls away and there is a huge silence on the journey. But this phase, what I was just talking about, approach phase, is also a hard one. And that's the real test for the balancing. It begins when they want to come closer. He's not cold anymore. And when there is no big silence anymore, when you can feel him, and yet you feel that something inside you is screaming and tightens. Take a slow breath and notice that feeling. It's absolutely normal. Hi, I'm Agi, Transformational Life Coach, Autogenic Training Therapist, and Twin Flame Coach. I'm guiding divine feminines and divine masculines on this journey to get back to themselves, to come home to their authentic self, and also those who are not on the twin flame journey with clarity, guidance, and relaxation practices. I also create personalized relaxation audios and standard relaxation packages to calm the nervous system. So let's talk about the first signs of his approach. And I always like to add that I'm talking about energies here on this channel and never about the gender. This phase is gentle. It's not dramatic, it's not like a volcano. You might notice less silence, approach, more attention, clearer communication, sometimes showing his emotions. Definitely smaller but steady steps. Less avoidance, less silence. It's not a big, explosive return. It's a quiet, stable presence of the divine masculine. And here, something unexpected can happen. The divine feminine can feel fear again. This fear modus gets activated in the divine feminine. When he was away, you had a kind of known pattern from the childhood. You got used to feeling lack. You were always in this survival mode and waiting mode. And you never stopped analyzing, controlling, looking at his personality, the family patterns, figuring out the old wounds and the whole journey, everything. You lost yourself in the spiritual interpretations, the spiritual knowledge, and repeated this cycle over and over again. It all hurt, but it was familiar. It felt safe, even if it was taking away your energy, because it was well known from the childhood. And now he comes closer. Reality hits. Now it could really happen. And this real intimacy is always riskier than the lack. Let's see exactly what his approach activates in you. You may start to think, what if he disappears again? What if the whole process is starting again when I say yes and I attach myself again? What if it's still unstable? He's not taking responsibility for his actions. What if I get hurt again? All these old wounds surface one by one, and it starts circling in our mind. Distrust quietly appears, and as we were always in standby mode, we might test him again and again in different ways, asking different questions. We can become very critical, we can pull back and practice this kind of emotional tests with the Divine Masculine. What we did before. We start again with analyzing the whole situation, overanalyze. We want to make sure that the mind gets all the answers it's longing for. Withdraw for safety because it feels more natural than this real closeness and intimacy. And this is not manipulation from our side either. It's a self-protection, a natural response for an absolutely new pattern. And what is the paradox here? When the Divine Masculine finally feels safe, because he doesn't feel us anymore pulling him into this fusion, he takes a step forward. And at the same time, the Divine Feminine system can trigger control. So it's the other side, sensing that this time there is a danger. Something can happen. I can be hurt. I have to close and control. Because longing, waiting, and fantasizing was very familiar. Lack felt safer than this uncertain joy. And now he comes closer, wants to give us something, wants to show us something new, what we were basically wished for, and there is a feeling in us that I can lose it. That's what I also wrote this quote to my twin flame last time. It's better that we loved and lost something as we have never loved at all. And that time I thought that I have to fix her and tell her my knowledge and motivate her to come back to me. It took many years until I discovered that I was actually telling her the same I wanted to tell myself. So I was talking to myself, and she was just a mirror outside who needed to trigger this projection in me. And now, let's dive into the part what happens on the masculine side during the feminine's behavior. The Divine Masculine is sensitive, especially to this subtle rejection and tests all these things. If he feels you that you don't trust him, you feel and watch him critically, you test him, you basically provoke things in him, what he did before, or start or want him to remember what he did before, and you don't believe in his change. In this case, shame, guilt can arise again in the Divine Masculine. I'm not good enough. I'm still not good. It's not enough what I'm giving. And also, they think and feel that I can't do this because she's still not stable. And if it's strong feeling in him, he might withdraw again. He needs to go, and not because he doesn't want to be there. But masculine energy can only show up when it feels safe. So we shouldn't forget that he is our clearest mirror. So if he's triggered and pulls away, we have to ask ourselves, where do I pull away from myself? And start leaking out my energy again to the external world. And where is the strength of the Divine Feminine? It's not in showing the waiting and showing that I can take everything on my back. I can bear this lack and I overanalyze. No, it shows in receiving. It shows in being capable of loving even if nothing is certain outside, and living her life to the fullest. and not testing him what happens outside, but just do it or watch it as a third party observer. Not withdraw automatically, but stay centered and stay stable in her energy. Not react based on the past, but to be able to pause for a moment and look at the situation from outside and use her gained balance. I always say, like, go away from yourself, like watching yourself from the corner of a room, and just observe what you see on the scene, instead of going back to the old pattern and analyzing what he does again. And this is a conscious presence moment when it happens. Now take a moment to the breath, or you can look outside the window and watch the trees and birds. You can count things around you. You can feel the presence somehow, instead of being nervous and analyzing the situation. These are some tips how you can stay in the present moment. It's without thinking how it should be. It is as it is right now. A new level in the connection can arise once both really moved away from these past old wounds. Without analyzing, just observing, you give a chance to both of you to find stability in the connection. And here comes the real challenge: maintaining stability while things are in move. Now in the real world, not now in the connection, not in silence anymore, just for yourself. Not from drama, not from fear, not to prove yourself, not to be different or behave in a planned mode, but by choice, by conscious choice every day, that no matter what, you stay in this observing mode. Union doesn't begin when you talk again. It begins in you, this inner union, when nothing can move you out from this state of being, that you are stable. When there is no energetic pressure, hidden testing, subtle manipulation, need to prove something, need to justify. No expectations, no judgment, just presence, pure, steady presence. Because when someone moves through the whole dynamic without losing themselves, the dynamic stops pulling them. They hold the space, and this is the moment when the relationship stops being a struggle and becomes a true meeting on the same energetic level. And it is no longer loud, it's going to be stable. That is for today, and if this brought you clarity and guidance, and you understand this a little bit deeper, then just take this message with you and give yourself space, give yourself grace, everything. If you still can't do it how you want to do things, because it's a process. You sometimes have to go around, like in the roundabout with the car, several turns until you find your way out. Just trust your intuition. You are always where you have to be. See you in the next video.